too in the age of COVID as well, which is the topic of our next conversation, guys. As several state governments continue to further lock down in defense of the coronavirus, Warriors owner Joe Lacob unveiling a plan that he hopes would allow 50% capacity in the Chase Center this season. Ramona, you broke this story earlier today. Joe Lacob, as you noted in your piece, he has a master's in public health from UCLA. He's made his fortune in biotech. This is an area, he's not just some fly-by-night, just, hey, let me see what I can do about coronavirus testing. This is one of his specialties. How are the Warriors attempting to accomplish this?
Well, look, the game changer for the Warriors here is that they're not just talking about testing the players or the employees or the staffers. They're talking about testing every single fan who comes in the building, and not just with the rapid antigen-based tests, which are the tests that the White House use, which, you know, the experts I spoke to, Rachel, said those can miss 30 to 50% of people who are infectious. If any of those people get through, you're in a bad situation. But there's new technology, which is called a rapid PCR test. This is how, if you're watching Saturday Night Live, that's how they're operating, okay? And these tests right now are pretty expensive, $150, $200, but they are being used in small event group settings. And there's 3 companies right now that have gotten emergency FDA approval to start making them. They're going to start increasing scale. Joe Lacob says he thinks by springtime they'll be producing 100,000 of these tests a day. So that's the only way you can make this work. If you do a rapid PCR test, which is 99% effective, okay, takes 15 minutes. You can either do it at the Chase Center or you can do it at drive-through locations around the Bay Area. You can safely say that it's not just 99 out of 100, okay? Because there's a lot of people who say, oh, 10,000 fans, that means 100 get through. No, you also have to factor in the rate of coronavirus in the Bay Area, which is right now, I just looked it up 20 minutes ago, 9.9 per 100,000. That means probably out of 10,000 people, you're trying to catch 4 or 5 of them that have COVID. And a 99% effective test probably catches those. Then you also back it up with masks and social distancing. The experts I talked to, one was named George Rutherford at UCSF. He said, this is as close to a perfect plan as you can get. Now, in California, where we don't allow any fans, not even friends and family at a college football game, if they sit 3 sections apart, it's going to be a hard sell. Because I think politically, it's going to be hard to get London Breed, the mayor of San Francisco, Logan Breed, the mayor of San Francisco, or Gavin Newsom to sign off on it when cases are rising. But this really, if we can prove the concept, if the Warriors can do that on a small scale, at least maybe 1,000 fans, 2,000 fans first, I think this has a game-changing ability to get everyone back to arenas and really change entertainment, sports, and get people back into arenas safely.
I think this is admirable and perhaps revolutionary, but the virus is just destroying us as a country. We're just getting destroyed by us. It's beating us. We're about to go into lockdowns all over the place again. The laws and the virus are going to dictate what happens, and I admire Joe Lacob trying to fight it. That said, 100,000 tests like this per day, do we really want X thousand of them, 5,000, 10,000, to go to Warriors fans just to fill the Warriors arena? Like, can't we think of something better to do with those tests? And same goes for Hollywood studios. I mean, we're about to close schools all over the country, and we're sitting here talking about filling an NBA arena to 50% capacity. I mean, it's admirable. I think their heart is in the right place, and the impact could be revolutionary, but it feels like we're just sort of, we're missing the larger point.
Yeah, but that larger point, Zach, then requires the next question.
That was the one question I had, too.
Well, I would just say, guys, the larger point requires that next question of if if teams or sporting events or Hollywood studios aren't buying up those tests, is someone else buying them? Because that was one of the questions facing the NBA bubble before they started up things in Orlando. There was some criticism of, oh, the NBA is going to buy up all these tests. Are they taking them away from someone? But the lab was making the tests for them and did not have other government buyers who was going to buy that same amount of tests for normal citizens. So I think part of it is just sort of a play between local governments, state governments, private institutions and hospitals who buy up tests, and private businesses who want to buy up tests to function. Are they taking them, quote, away? Could we think of better things to do with those tests? if us as taxpayers are willing to buy up and fund those tests to the degree that, say, Joe Lacob is, of course they should go to the government and to taxpayers and to people who need them in the general public. You can't look at that in a vacuum and say, why are they buying up all the tests? That doesn't mean there's any for anyone else. It's someone else buying up those tests. Up until now, a lot of our state governments have not done that. It depends on the state and it depends on which test you're talking about, right, Ramona?
Yeah, you explained that perfectly, Rachel. I mean, I think the big question, and I think this is another thing. I kind of knocked the rapid antigen tests before, which they're not as accurate, right? But if you use them every day, so if you're talking about schools, right, where you have a huge population, but it's the same population every day, they become more effective because you're testing people more often. So if let's say you missed the virus on day 4, but you got it on day 5, that is more effective. And I think those antigen tests are far cheaper right now. So there are other plays there. Zach, I actually agree with you. I think that we should probably see these in nursing homes among first-line responders. I do think that is coming, though, and I think it's going to come with a national testing strategy that is probably going to come over the winter as we see an administration change. One of the experts I talked to, his name is Rick Klausner. He's advising the Rockefeller Foundation, one of their lead the Biden transition team, and I think that is probably what's going to change this equation here, which is if we, instead of leaving it up to states, if we have more of a nationwide extensive testing policy, then you can produce these in bulk. Then the government can compel other companies to produce them in bulk, and there will be more companies and more tests available in the coming months. So I think by springtime, that ethical question may not be as much of an issue.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.